Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. In version 15.2, we get to see the addition of the true form for Headmistress Jeanne. This makes her the third legend rare true form and the final of the original 3 to receive one. In this true form, she gains a boost to her attack and defense, further LD piercing, Colossus Slayer, as well as explosion and freeze immunity. In this video, I want to go over her additions and see how much they improve her performance. In order to get this true form, you need 5 red cat fruit, 3 green cat fruit, and a green behemoth gem. The footage of Jeanne is at level 50. Before we get to discussing the true form, I want to briefly go over her general kit from her previous form. Jeanne is the definition of a specialist unit. While her general stats aren't the highest, with only 54,000 health and 11,000 damage with 3.8k DPS at level 30, she sports the insane damage ability, allowing her to deal 6 times the damage against red and floating enemies. These boost her effective stats to 67,000 damage with 23,000 DPS. She also sports an LD of 200 to 550 range with 400 standing range. Her extremely fast attack rate allowed her to quickly shred most of her targets, and her LD can allow her to hit even harder to reach targets like Professor A. However, outside of red and floating stages, her usage is fairly limited. Now what does her true form give her? Well, Jeanne gets a 25% boost to her health, a 10% boost in damage, as well as freeze and explosion immunity, Colossus Slayer, and a slight increase in her outer LD, going from 550 to 600. Her new health stat jumps to 68,000 while now dealing 12,342 damage with 4.2k DPS. These stats still make her primarily used for specialist uses against red and floating enemies. Against them, she deals an effective 74,000 damage with 25,000 DPS. Her freeze immunity doesn't have the most use cases due to the lack of viable matchups against her target specific freezers. The only ones where she gets a ton of value against include Albrody and CTO Seal, and not getting frozen by Baron Seal in the event that it does reach her. The main value it has is in mixed stages that feature Henry, as this freeze easily shuts down a ton of higher ranged units. While DNL would have been a solid enemy to use her against, the fact that Jeanne still only has 400 standing range means that unless she has a stepping stone, then the horse will constantly bite at her ankles. In 15.2, we see 2 brand new red enemies get the explosion ability. One of these is a red variant of LeBoyne. However, this red elephant just so happens to deal a large 21,000 damage and whose Omni Strike just so happens to also hit 400. Because of this, Jeanne absolutely needs support through weaken and or stepping stones in order to get more than a few hits against this elephant. The second enemy, who for the purposes of this video I will be calling Dodrio. Dodrio's Omni Strike already reaches 390 range, but because they also sport 60 speed as well as a constantly regenerating Aku shield, Jeanne is extremely tricky to use against them. Even if you manage to stall them, they just need the slightest break to start constantly pecking away at Jeanne. Their knockback can also interrupt Jeanne from attacking. The main place where Jeanne sees a ton of value with this immunity is Bahamut's Talent Awakening stage, where she comfortably outranges Bahamut and can constantly blast him with powerful attacks if you can time your meat shields to prevent Bahamut rushing ahead. The main thing she gains is Colossus Slayer. This boosts her effective health to 97,000 with the base Colossus damage of 19,000 and 6.8k DPS. This ability is also mainly for her specialized matchups. This does make Jeanne's matchup way better against Baron Seal, as now she will deal a gigantic amount of damage to them. At level 30 alone, she deals an effective 118,000 damage against them with 40,000 DPS, allowing her to pile on a massive amount of damage in a short period of time. At level 50, this damage gets boosted to 188,000 effective damage with 64,000 DPS. This raw damage is enough to one-shot even 240% JJ Jackrabbit. While this Colossus Slayer is also solid for Mega Muth, the issue is that Muth's Omni Strike outranges her by 70 range, and with a faster force swing than her, he can constantly interrupt her attack. While there are zombies that could serve as decent stepping stones, the main thing to keep in mind is that these same zombies deal an obscene amount of damage, so unless you can get the zombies off of her while she attacks, she isn't going to be doing too much. Her general Colossus Slayer matchups are questionable at best, as her effective stats against Colossus enemies outside of her targets is still rather low, and most of these bosses have supporting enemies that don't match either of Jeanne's target types. So, how good is Jeanne's true form? Well, it does let her do better at what she already excelled at, blowing up red and floating enemies. However, most of her new additions don't really do much for her outside of Colossus Slayer due to most of her target relevant exploders being able to kill her easily, and Freeze immunity lacks many target relevant threats. Her Colossus Slayer, however, makes her an amazing option for Baron Seal and JJ Jackrabbit, and a decent option for Megamuth. So all in all, this true form just lets her be better at what she's already good at, destroying red and floating enemies. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching this analysis of Jeanne's true form. If you thought this insight was interesting, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy Battle Cats content, and comment down below your thoughts on them. I'd love to hear what you all think. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Gamet, Virus Opero, Just a Shark, Rose Cat the Ultra, Potato King, Atsushi, King Wolf, Glamorous, Barely Grover, Jade Rabbit, Mustafa, Janek Alterberg, Tentacle Gaming, I May Be Dumb, I'm Too Few, and Alex to Durex for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on and allows me to continue making content for all of you to watch. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.